Good afternoon. I spoke to the subject when the blind leads on Sunday during my broadcast, but the broadcast itself was interrupted just as I was rounding up. So I would like to just make the points I was unable to make before the interruption happened. And you may then follow the link to the full video so that you may watch the body of the argument itself. The point I was making is that when the leaders are devoid of vision, perversion overtakes a land. And I sought to make this point by pointing out the fact that when Obasanjo was given a cub, a lion cub, he kept the lion cub in a cage. It did not envisage, as it should have, the fact that the lion cub would become a lion in need of a larger space. And I then drew the analogy that if a person who ruled a country was so devoid of vision in relation to the treatment of a lion cub, what kind of vision governed the country that he ruled? That was one. The second thing I was pointing out is we all spoke about the Akara, but have we ignored to consider that Yakla, just like the noise you are hearing, which is signaling that after 16 billion spent by Obasanjo and Atiku, we still have a country suffering from power poverty. This is what visionless leadership breeds for a country. Yorùbá láti Kufanle Ifatinshe. So when they ask you to look to Akara and Kuli Kuli to draw people out of poverty, is a function of the limited vision that governs the country. They can't find any other way of seeking sustenance for you, but it's with the little things that they believe you should survive. This is the kind of vision. These are the kind of vision governing Nigeria.
Hello, everyone. You know the issue is not complete until Uncle Dele Farotimi comes in and analyze the whole situation. Of course, you have to get that intellectual, you know what it is. But on a very serious note, for me, one of the things that really pains me about Nigeria is the fact that Obasanjo is still, whether we like it or not, one of the best, president that we've had since 1999. The civil rule that we've had, the democracy we've had since 1999. I mean, there were a lot of things that were done wrong in his administration. To say that we've not been able to improve on that and become better is just deteriorated on and on and on. It's really a very sad thing. But if you also look at the deterioration, in a way, Obasanjo is also responsible for it. Because one of the things that you must do as a leader, especially a leader who is trying to grow something and ensure that thing stays, high up there, is to ensure succession. I don't think Obasanjo ensured the kind of succession that would work for Nigeria. As a leader, you should look at it even when you're leaving office. What are you going to do to ensure in the next 20 years there are a line of people that are able to take over from you and really continue the positive vision you have for the country? Because there are some vision that are bad for the country, and take it on. Then I think that's where Obasanjo failed. By the time he became engrossed in trying to get a third term, and then he was not given that third term, it looks almost as if he then became very antagonistic against the nation and just like, okay, anyhow that you want it, and his criteria for choosing that leadership, for me, just didn't just wasn't it. Yaradua was not the person that we needed. As much as people praise Yaradua because he died early, Yaradua drew us too much backward. A lot of the reforms. So in Obasanjo's first tenure, he was very cautious. He really didn't even do much. It was Atiku was all over the place. Had that control. Obasanjo was just focused on let me do that governance thing, and but in his second, tenure, he was bolder in the reforms that he was making, but then he didn't have enough time. And then Yaradua will come in and reverse literally all those reforms that were done and just sort of like everything just went, yeah, haywire. The one for me that I remember the most, I saw like the refineries. Obasanjo has sold the refineries. Them, what did they call them? They call something blue something. I can't remember the name of the country. Dangote, Otedola, and Co. They had come together. They had bought some of these refineries, and then Yaradua came and reversed all of that. If you look at from that time till now, the amount of billions of dollars that Nigeria has spent on repairing those refineries, right? If it was in electricity we put it, would have gone a far place. Although we've put so much in that electricity, a lot of corruption and stuff like that did not allow, things to materialize. Just even imagine if it was in education that you put that money, where Nigeria would be right now. But at the end of the day, everything was reversed, and then this is someone who was sick because he was sick, he was ill. I remember, I would never forget that. Umoru, are you dead? They say you are really. And even when he got in, President Yaradua kept denying the fact he was sick. I remember also one interview. Me, I didn't even used to watch it at that time. I didn't really even focus more on Nigerian issue because all I was interested in was for me to make my own money and be financially independent. That was what I was obsessed with. Though I can be obsessed with things, so that's why right now you see me. My obsession is Nigeria because I gave God my word that if he gives me another 40 years, I'm going to devote it for Nigeria. If I live up to 80 years, the day I turn 80 like this, the next day, you people will even know that I'm Nigerian anymore. I will tune off. But when I put my mind on something, no matter the obstacle in front, I they follow. And that's why this Nigerian thing, where people feel like, Aisha, how are you not giving up by saying me? If you know my life, I've never gotten anything easy. I they fight for it. When people will tell, people are telling me you can't make this thing. That's why I'm saying, watch me. And that's why I am, on the Nigerian thing. And so I remember that interview that Yaradua did, and he had lesions all over his body and all over his face from what we could see. And he was there saying, oh no, he's very fit, and he was challenging people to a game of squash. I'm like, look at this man. Sickness is written all over you, and yet you're there. And that's how we ended up, getting also a Jonathan that should never have been in this thing. Instead of someone like a Jonathan, imagine us if we had Donald Duke, if we had the formerly Odiri. These are people from the south side that you could have put in there. Even although I used to think that why didn't Obasanjo choose El-Rufai to succeed him? By the time El-Rufai became governor, and I see, hey, saw how he was. Okay, you know that thing where they say that what an elder can see sitting down, that a young person can be, on top of a tree and not able to see that particular thing. I think literally that's what we had there. But anyway, Sha, and you say like Dele Farotimi did say, it's people who have no vision, and that's one of the things we keep doing in Nigeria. We put people who have no vision, or we allow them get into office, and then we are complaining. Everything that vision is very important. Get someone who can see, say, I can take this thing far away from, beyond what anybody is thinking, rather than the one that is thinking, oh, let me come here and come and be enjoying the perks of office. Let me come here and carry this and not carry this and whatever. But anyway, Sha, Nigeria is there for us. We have to fight for it. Thank you for watching. Bye.